All right, we have shown you the 2020 schedule for the Louisville Cardinals. Now we're going to give you our projected record. And I want to be clear, this is not a prediction from us. This is not our official prediction. It's just kind of looking at the odds to win each game and giving a projection based off of the strength of schedule for Louisville. So that's all this is, just a projection based off of what we think would happen if the averages kind of play out. Let's look at the scale and again look at the schedule here for the Cardinals. You see, if it's a 99% game, if I think this team is pretty much guaranteed to win, it'll be green. 80%, those are games where they're going to be double-digit favorites. A 60% game is going to be a game where they're going to be favored by about a touchdown. And then you have your 50-50 games where the spread is going to be 4 points or less, somewhere in that range. Again, just looking at kind of how Vegas would view these games is what we're trying to do. We obviously are giving our personal opinion a little bit here, but just trying to stay unbiased and not like make actual picks on these games. So let's go to the schedule now. And for Louisville, you got a couple of easy games on there. You've got Murray State on September the 19th and Western Kentucky on September 26th. Those are the two, I would say, guaranteed wins. I think Louisville will be favored by 20 or more points in both of these matchups. So I expect them to win easily. Again, this team should be better than they were last year, and I expect those to be games that they should take care of business in pretty easily. And then you go to the next games, the 80% games again, where they're going to be favored, I think, by double digits. And let's see, how many did we had? Actually, we had none of those. We actually skipped to the 60% games. So these are the games where I think Louisville will be favored by about a touchdown. You've got NC State at home. Week 1, NC State was not very good last year. I think Louisville is going to be favored by at least a touchdown in this one, 7 or 8 points, somewhere in there. And same thing with Syracuse and Boston College. I realize both of those games are on the road, but if you just look at what we expect from these two teams, I expect them to Louisville to clearly be the better team. You know, I would even, it's close to even bumping those up into the 80% range if they were at home, but again, I think Louisville will be favored by about a touchdown against both Syracuse and Boston College, even though those games are on the road. Clemson on the road, that's your 20% game. I think they have almost no chance of winning this one. I think Clemson will be double-digit favorites. I'm not putting that one in the red. I think Louisville will have a chance, but I think it's going to be very, very tough for them to win that game. Clemson on the road, of course, we know how good Clemson is, so I'm going to put that one in the orange there and just a 20% chance against the Tigers. Let's see, we go now to the 40% games. We've got one of those. We got Notre Dame on the road. Notre Dame should be pretty solid again this year, but I don't think that's a 20% game, though. I think Louisville has a chance in that one. I don't think they're going to be double-digit underdogs. I think it's closer to 7 or 8, 9 points, somewhere in there. Playing on the road, obviously, is going to be really tough, but this is going to be a good team. Louisville's maybe a top 25 team this year, so I think they'll have a shot there against Notre Dame, and that will be a huge win for them. We'll see if they're able to get it. But that is a late season game against Notre Dame before playing Kentucky. And then you look at the rest of this schedule. You got Florida State at home. You got Virginia Tech at home. You got Virginia on the road, Wake Forest at home, and Kentucky at home. To me, these are the 50-50 games. And Wake Forest is a little bit of a head scratcher. Not for sure really how good that team is going to be. That game should be in the 60% range for Louisville, especially playing at home. And now that I think about it, I kind of wish I had gone that route. But, you know, Sam Hartman is back at quarterback for Wake Forest. I know they lose Jamie Newman, but that's still a pretty good team. So we're gonna stick with 50-50 for that one. And the good news for Louisville, those 5 games, the 50-50 games for them, are all at home. They're all at home except for one, and that's Virginia, and that's going to be a winnable game. So if they can win 4 out of these 5, win these home games, they're going to have a really good year and be a top 25 team. But when you average all the numbers out, the projected record for Louisville is 7-5. So we're giving them wins in the green games, and we don't have any blue, but we'd give them wins there as well. And we're going to give them a loss against Clemson, but everything else we average out, and you get a 7-5 projection for Louisville. But again, I think if you really dialed into these percentages, and instead of making them 50-50 games, maybe they should be 55-45 games or whatever. I think if you do that, I think they're probably favored in a lot of those games. and you might get an 8-4 or even 9-3 projection for Louisville. But when we average the numbers out like this, it does come out to be 7-5. I think they could do better than that. We'll see where we put them on our actual predictions. But the projection, based on the odds, based on the strength of schedule for Louisville, is 7-5 in 2020. What do you guys think about this team? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.